and welcome to Fellowship Church Online. We are so glad that you are here today. If this is your first time with us, thanks for joining us. I would like to encourage you to check out our website and click on the button that says Get Connected. This will help you to find out more information about Fellowship and get notified of upcoming events. Another way to get and stay connected is by following our page on Facebook and Instagram. This is a great way to see what's coming up and special events that are planned. Next week, we are in for an exciting treat. Ashley and Julio Gonzalez, missionaries to Costa Rica, are going to be here with us to share how God has been using them in Costa Rica. Julio is a founding pastor of the Open House Church in San Jose, and Ashley the director of the Hope Center in Costa Rica. Some of us have had the pleasure of meeting them and getting to know them through our missions trips, and we can't wait for you to hear from them as well. They are truly special people. I know many of you also gave to the Christmas offering last year that enabled us to donate $30,000 to the new Hope Center playground. So make sure you come and hear how your money is helping to write the stories of the children at Hope Center. Many of us have seen our grocery bills skyrocket this year, and while times have been tough for us, it has been even harder for Amazing Grace Food Pantry to have the food they need for all their clients. The number of families currently needing support from the Amazing Grace Food Pantry is up, even more than inflation. Meanwhile, donations are down 30%. Many of you brought in food today so that we can be a generous church and show Middletown how much we are for them. We are so grateful for your generosity. If you forgot to bring food or were unaware we were collecting, you can still help by donating and making a monetary donation today. You can do that through our app or website and selecting Amazing Grace when you make your donation. It's so easy to take life's most basic things for granted, like a meal. You and I can help take care of those in our community who need food security, and in doing so, remind our community that we want something for them, not from them. I also want to thank those of you who give regularly to Fellowship Church. We are so grateful for your generosity. Thank you and enjoy the rest of the service.
Well, have you ever felt invisible? That it's always others who seem to get the promotions, or they're the ones that win the raffles, or others are recognized for their deeds done? I mean, you've done things, yet nobody seems to notice. Now, how about being picked last at recess or the local park when you were a kid? That's like the worst feeling ever, right? Well, if that's you, you're in good company, because the Bible is full of people who can easily fly under the radar, who don't get the time in sermons or devotionals or Bible studies. They're there, but you can easily read right past them. And this can even happen in small groups of people as well. You'd think everybody would be noticed. So take, for instance, the disciples of Jesus. Think about it. There's only 12 of them, but can you name the 12? I mean, we know Peter and John and maybe James, and of course, there's notorious Judas. Everybody knows him. But then after that, it gets a little fuzzy. So today, I want us to look at a disciple who we may not know very well. His name is Nathaniel. And I want us to look at today his encounter with Jesus. You see, Nathaniel met Jesus at the behest of a friend whose name was Philip, who was also a disciple. Now, maybe that's you. Maybe you know Jesus today because a friend introduced you to him. You know, we don't know much about Nathaniel. We do know that Nathaniel was also known as Bartholomew, so that makes it even a little more confusing. And some scholars actually believe that Nathaniel may have had royal blood by being a descendant of the bloodline of King David. And so here he is, passed over again with the Roman occupation, because they're in charge. So his story is brief, but it's really important. And it's found in John 1, where Jesus was choosing his disciples. So we're going to pick up a reading in verse 45. It says, Philip went to look for Nathanael and told him, "We have found the very person that Moses and the prophets wrote about. His name is Jesus, the son of Joseph from Nazareth." So he's telling him, he's saying, hey, this is the Messiah, the one the prophets have written about, the one who's going to set us free. And Nathanael's answer is, "Nazareth," exclaimed Nathanael. "Can anything good come from Nazareth?" "Well, come see for yourself," Philip replied. So remember, Israel had been under the rule of lots of nations for a long, long time. I mean, it started way back with the Egyptians. Then there was the Babylonians, the Persians, the Greeks. Now here they are with the Roman occupation as well. This country, these people were desperate. They were desperate for a rescuer. This Messiah that was written of by the prophets, that was written of by Moses, the Messiah who would eventually set them free. At least that's how they understood that the Messiah would be. They thought of him as a political or military leader who would set them free from the grip of warring and other empires. Of course, we know Jesus had different ideas in that time. But Philip tells Nathanael, we found him. We found the one, the Messiah. And Nathanael just couldn't believe it. I mean, what we've been praying for, what we've been hoping for, could he finally be here? Jesus of Nazareth. Wait a minute. Nazareth? That's a nothing town. And so Nathanael laughs, he scoffs, he goes, it's ridiculous. But Philip answers, come and see and meet him for yourself. And so Nathanael does. In verse 47, as they approached, Jesus said, now here is a genuine son of Israel, a man of complete integrity. Now, Philip believes in Jesus already, right? He's met Jesus. Nathanael's wary. He's never met Jesus before. And Jesus, what's so funny in this setting here and in this situation is he doesn't even introduce himself to Nathanael. He just blows Nathanael away by letting him know that he already knows him. He's saying, I know you, Nathanael. I already know who you are. Even though we've never met, I know who you are. Jesus tells Nathanael, I know your character. I know what's important to you, your values. He says, you're a person of integrity. I know your story, how you carry yourself. I know because you're a person of integrity, you have high expectations of yourself and of other people. You know, it's interesting. We hear this even in the Old Testament. Humans look at the outward appearances, but God looks deeply within the heart. And this is what Jesus is saying right now to Nathanael. He says, I see your heart. I see your character. I see your integrity. I see how you see life. I know who you are. You may find this hard to believe, but God knows you as well. Now, that could be really good news or really bad news, right? Depending on what you've been doing lately, right? The truth is, it's probably a combination of both for all of us, right? It's good news and we're a little wary of that. But God knows and understands you. He knows your story. He knows your past, your wins, your losses, your doubts, your fears. He knows the strong points of your character. But he also knows where you struggle a little bit and where you even doubt. And he's not intimidated by that. He knows every part of you. Matter of fact, Jesus said at one point in his teachings, the very hairs on your head are all numbered. So don't be afraid, he said. God knows you. You know, Nathanael's blown away that Jesus knows him without even having formally met him. So he goes and he answers in verse 48, how do you know about me? Nathanael asked. And Jesus replied, I could see you. I could see you under the fig tree before Philip even found you. That's another thing that Jesus said to Nathanael is, not only do I know you, but I see you. You know, when nobody else does, he's saying, I see you. I see what motivates and matters to you. I see your worth. I want to share my life with you. I want you to be one of my 12 disciples. I want to teach you, model for you how life should be lived. I've got great plans for you. You know, there's a great lesson for all of us here. Jesus sees us just like he saw Nathanael. You know, when I'm bored, God sees me. And when I'm overwhelmed with work, he knows. He sees us. When I wonder where God is in a particular moment of my life, God sees me. And even when I'm celebrating, God's right there with me. He sees me. And at my lowest point, he's there as well. Psalm 34:18, the psalmist writes, the Lord is close to the brokenhearted. He rescues those whose spirits are crushed. So even when we feel like he's far away, he sees us. Well, back to John. John 1:49 says, then Nathanael exclaimed, Rabbi, you are the Son of God. You are the King of Israel. In other words, you're the Messiah. You're the one that we've been talking about. And Jesus asked him, do you believe this just because I told you that I saw you sitting under the fig tree? Well, you're going to see greater things than this. Jesus tells Nathanael, you're going to see more. You'll see more if you follow me. If you follow me, you haven't seen anything yet. I'm going to turn water into wine. I'm going to multiply food, heal the sick, bring hope to those in despair. You're going to see more of my character, my love for the unlovable, my patience with the ones that others have already given up on. You're going to see my perspective where others have lost hope, and my joy even facing the hardest things of life. Nathanael, you're going to see my crucifixion, my death, and you're even going to see my resurrection. Nathanael will begin to see what God sees, and people are going to look different to him. Challenges are going to become opportunities to trust God. Nathanael's going to have a front row seat to life change, his and countless others around him. Now, we might be tempted to say when we see this or read this, man, I wish that I could witness firsthand what Jesus did and how he taught and challenged and encouraged, and just imagine walking with him. But here's the thing. Today, you can still experience a front row seat to life change as well. We experience this because the Holy Spirit of God lives inside each one of us as his followers. God is always with us. And when we choose to be the hands and feet of Jesus by using our time, our gifts, talents, and story for others, we get to see the work of God accomplished in others, and God uses each one of us. And just like Nathanael, God says to us today, if you follow me and if you serve me, you will see greater things. See, serving gives you a front row seat to life change. You'll witness the stories that we tell from the front. You'll stop living through the stories and rumors of others, and you'll have your own stories to tell. God will shape and develop you through your experience with him and those who you serve. You'll be on the fast track to spiritual growth. You know, Nathanael took Jesus at his word. He followed him, and his life story changed for the better. We should never limit what God can show you because you refuse to take him at his word. This is living by faith. And just like Jesus saw and knew Nathanael, the same is true for you as well. You are of immense wealth to Jesus. David understood this years before when he wrote in Psalm 139, "Oh Lord, you've examined my heart, and you know everything about me. You know when I sit down and stand up. You know my thoughts, even when I'm far away. You see me when I travel and when I rest at home. You know everything I do. You know what I'm going to say even before I say it, Lord." What's David saying? David is saying, God knows and sees me. Every moment of your life, nothing gets past him. Nothing is lost on him. He doesn't ever get too busy or distracted or overwhelmed or lost in something else. One thing that's so hard for Laura and I as new grandparents is how far we are from our granddaughter, Nolly. I mean, we take lots of trips to see her, and every time we see her, she looks totally different. We're grateful, though, for the technology of the day because her parents will FaceTime us, and we'll get to see her. And when we do, she brightens up, and so do we. But something really cool happened just a few weeks ago. We were able to see something that we never thought that we'd witness, and it was her very first steps. And I want to show it to you so you can celebrate with us. And here she is, walking for the very first time.
No. No, you can stand up by yourself. Thank you. Yay!
You know, David writes this about God later in Psalm 139. He says, "You saw me before I was born. Every day in my life was recorded in your book. Every moment was laid out before a single day had passed." You know, as wonderful as technology is, we still all miss moments. We can live in the same house and miss moments, right? God never misses a moment with you, though. You matter to him. He took great care in creating you. Paul writes this. He says, "For we are God's masterpiece." He's created us anew in Christ Jesus so we can do the good things he planned for us long ago. We're his masterpiece, which is absolutely amazing. We just heard this week that Bob Ross's first painting that he ever painted on TV is going for nearly $10 million. The happy tree guy with the simple paintings? $10 million. They're priceless. They're worth so much. And God says you are his masterpiece. God made you with your personality, your gifts, your talents, your makeup, your abilities. And he did it for a purpose. You've got incredible meaning. Everyone does. And that meaning is fleshed out and practiced when we give our lives away to others, not when we merely live for ourselves. Here's the thing. Serving is really your pathway to significance. Because at the heart of it, serving is doing good to other people, right? And significance is not found just within ourselves. It's not found in status or salary or even sex. Rather, it's by using the unique gift mix that God gave us as we serve others. We're wired to use our gifts to serve. Serving others leads you to a more meaningful life, and the soul really can't live very well without meaning. But finally, I would say this: serving is God's design for you and his church. Paul writes to another church, he says, God makes the whole body fit together perfectly as each part does its own special work. It helps the other parts grow so that the whole body is healthy and it's growing and it's full of love. Churches with many people serving experience greater unity. They reach 4 times more people than the average church, and they see a greater rate of people saying yes to Jesus. They have greater baptisms, just like we experienced a couple weeks ago. You see, God sees you. He knows you. And if you follow and trust him, he has so much more to show you. Jesus led with a servant's heart himself. When the disciples were arguing about which one of them would be the greatest, Jesus responded by saying, "For even the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve others, and to give his life as a ransom for many." What's he saying? We're never more like Jesus than when we serve. So many of you here, you know this firsthand, and I want to say thank you for your willingness and excitement to serve. Our church is unique and different because of it. But I want to thank you for joining us in our mission to help people find and follow Jesus. But others of us, this might be your new opportunity to step up and into a life of more meaning. I want to invite some of you who maybe have served in the past, but now, after a long break, it's time to get back in it. We want to invite you to a team where you feel like you add value and meaning. And if you'd like to step into a serving opportunity, well, go ahead and let me know. Let me know through the comments here, or by using a connection card, or by you can even email us at info@fellowshipchurchct.com. But we would love for you. Maybe you can help us with this online services that we have here. You can work behind the scenes a little bit, like Nathaniel was behind the scenes. There's plenty of opportunities to serve, to be a part of something bigger than just yourself. And so I hope that you'll do this. I hope that you'll step into some significance here, where you will give yourself away a little bit. Give some of your time away, some of your talents away that God has blessed you with, and use it for the glory of Jesus. And in doing so, you're going to be helping change lives just like Nathaniel did. And so I hope that you'll take me up on this. I hope that you'll follow the leading of the Holy Spirit in your life as He guides you and directs you into your next steps. Make a difference, though, and be a difference. God created every single one of us to do just that. God bless you.